We fight how we train. Edwin de los Santos versus Shakur Stevenson. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of training clips from both of these gentlemen here and talk about some ideas, talk about some stuff that's going to play a part, talk about some ideas that you can take to your training, some stuff like that. And the first thing that we're going to touch on here, as we watch Shakur Stevenson shadowboxing here, what is he looking at? Right? Notice as his frame of reference isn't changing as he moves and circles the ring, right? Even there at the end, right? And if we just watch this clip here again, look at how his head is turned to the left, right? He's watching the mirror, not his punches, not what he's doing with his body or his target in relation, right? But he's trying to make sure that it, quote unquote, looks okay rather than being okay. And if we take a look at this, this is one of the big reasons why Shakur Stevenson doesn't really move his head when he punches. As we can see, his head is in that same spot the whole time. And one of his biggest mistakes, one of the worst training habits that I see when I watch Shakur Stevenson move around, is that a lot of times he's going to be looking at the mirror instead of focusing on his target, instead of moving his head across the line, instead of, following all the rules of combat, because he's not focused on that stuff. He's actually going to be focused more on what he looks like in the mirror. And here's the thing is, I don't actually know exactly what he's expecting to see in the mirror. Okay? Why he's using that as such a gauge for himself. It is important to understand, do I have my guard up? Do I have this? Do I have that? But we don't need to use the mirror anymore. We can just use our phone. We can record ourselves. We can focus on our workout and we can watch it back and see, because we fight how we train, right? And if you see the way that Shakur is moving his head, right, we're going to see him do that same thing throughout some of these clips here. Now, notice his opponent here, his coach, is in southpaw stance. He throws a punch at him, boom, right? No reaction from Shakur. Here comes a second punch, pushes him off the line. Is he blocking? Is he catching? Is he transferring his weight? Is he slipping? He's just moving off the line with a pendulum step here. Okay, now this seems like a small thing, right? But it just shows that they're not practicing catching and blocking punches in the correct way. And one of the biggest criticisms that I have for Shakur is that he doesn't actually do this stuff very well. He doesn't interact with his opponent very well, unless it's a guy that's slower than him and he's just going to punch him in the face a bunch of times. Then he looks super good, like incredibly good like that. But again, see him moving around, pendulum step, gets off the line, rhythm step. He's on the line, he didn't attack, right? Hands are low, head's not really moving, right? There's a little combination. Here he is again. What's he looking at here, right? What's he looking at? Why is his head not moving? Why is his head not moving? Right? And again, it's because of all of the mirror work. Again, no head movement here, all these punches. Another very, very bad move here. Take a look at his pivot here. He takes a step on the front foot. The bag's over there. That's fine. Pivoting on this foot here, right? Hands are down. Okay. We're going to take a look at this. Edwin de los Santos has a little version of his own that he's going to do, because he's learning boxing the same way as everyone else, right? Poorly. But, when you put it all together and all that stuff, I know. There's a level of fighter that just would never be able to compete with Shakur Stevenson, right? Not in their wildest dreams. Steps on the line, boom, boom. Okay? Now, real quick, one thing that both of these guys do, okay? And it's one of the things that really separates amateurs from great amateurs or good amateurs. On average, a good amateur is going to be able to use a lot of their kinetic chain. Okay? And what I'm referring to is most of them on accident are going to be doing a little bit of what I call 2-foot punching. Okay? Where they drive force from the ground with both of their feet when they punch, not just one foot, so that they can turn and quote unquote like put the cigarette out or whatever that is. That's not punching, right? It's not about the rotation and the spin of your foot. It's about how much of that weight that you can drive from the ground into your opponent. But you have to drive it from both feet. Okay, now if we take a second to look at a little Shakur here, when he gets on the line here, back foot, he's taking a foot on the front foot here. And now if we take a look at his structure, he has the ball of the foot here, down on the ground, heel here, and the ball here. Okay, I like to call it 3 points of contact, right? And he's going to throw a right or a left hand in his case, and then he's going to use the same exact structure to throw the right hook, because both of these punches come from the same footwork pattern, okay? Now, this is where Shakur Stevenson most appropriately uses his 2-foot punching, when he's chaining together his 2-3. Now, in this case, this is one of those times where you're going to throw that punch, boom, boom, and it's just going to be fast. You're not always going to have time to even move your head. You're just trying to chain those moves together quick enough that you can kind of surprise your opponent, right, with a quick combination. You're going to hope that they're still reacting to the 2, and then maybe they weren't expecting you to throw the 3 so fast. You didn't move your head. You just needed to score or land a hard shot maybe. And the other place that Shakur does this is in his stepping jab. We'll see if he throws a stepping jab, but he's probably going to step on the line. Boom, 2, 3 again. He makes a little mistake lifting the heel here. This is one of those things where sometimes you're going to lift the heel and transfer the weight to the other heel, and sometimes you're not. For more information on 2-foot punching and the structure, right, the 2-foot punching system from the Fouts Boxing Combat System, check out the link below. It's what I call weaponizing the 1-inch punch for boxing, okay? And what it's going to teach you are all of the most effective patterns to learn how 2-foot punching works, so that you can do all the little tricks of 2-foot punching so that you can really generate power. Again, if you don't punch with both feet, you're not going to have the same kind of power that you will when you punch, when you throw your punches, okay? Obviously, that just makes a little bit of sense, right? When you first start learning, you're going to be slow. Okay, there's no way around it. You're going to be slow. You're not going to be as fast as you think you are. And that's because for the first time, you're able to see why boxing is so hard, why it's so difficult to get to that upper echelon. Because it is difficult. It is a lot of work. It takes a lot of strength to throw a punch like this and to be fast. Now, anyway, the Fouts Boxing Combat System has all the best ways to learn it, and it also has things that Shakur Stevenson doesn't know. Okay, and one of those things is not just what you're going to do with your feet, right, but with what you're going to do with all the rest of the pieces of your kinetic chain, your head, as well as your hands. Now, if you're interested in what I mean by that, think about what Ryan Garcia does to throw his left hook so well. Think about the speed that he generates. He has a very unique left hook. I will teach you a better one. Okay? Think about what Tank Davis does to throw his hook so hard and so fast with so much snap. I will teach you how to throw a better one. I will teach you better to what to do with your hands than these guys know. Okay? There's a reason that Ryan Garcia's right hand is not as good as his left hand. It's because he doesn't actually know what he's doing. He's doing so much of it from pure repetition and on accident, right? And this is why people have such a difficult time changing trainers, because the trainer wants to teach them something that's not in line with the few small things that these people know about striking. Anyway, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. It is the most complete combat system on the planet to teach you how to go from being a complete beginner to how to becoming an expert level fighter. Okay? Expert level speed and power. Okay? It's not easy. You're going to have to work for it. But I promise you the results are going to be there. Okay? Check out the reviews. No negative reviews. People don't like leaving reviews because then it exposes who they are. They can't say, man, I learned how to punch all by myself, blah, blah, blah. But there's no negative reviews. Okay? Check out the testimonials on the channel. It's real. Okay? I'm working with professional fighters right now, teaching them, training them. Yeah. Anyway, I'm very proud again to say that I'm the first person in history to crack all of power punching. So check it out. Don't get left behind. In a few years, everyone on the planet is going to be using my system. Okay? So moving on to the next clip. Actually, we'll stay with this one here. We'll just move on and see some extra random clips if there's anything else in here of any interest. Real quick, get onto the line 2, 3, controls, moving off the line. Where's the head movement? Where's the blocking? Where's the defense? It's all explosion for offense, right? Some good combinations. Very, very, very little head movement with the pull counters. And watch his feet when he throws these punches, when he pulls. See how his feet come off the ground here when he's throwing these shots? See how both of his heels are off the ground here? Okay, and it's very small. This is going to prevent him from really getting the power that he's trying to get in his 2-foot punching, right? When his foot comes up off the ground, and we'll probably see it in this little clip here too. He's going to throw this shot here. He throws this shot. That's not so bad. You can see the heel coming up there, though, not driving from either of the heels. Okay? But in all of that, again, one of the most important things that we want to think about when we're watching this guy, okay, we're going to watch a little bit more of his shadow boxing here, a little bit more fluid as we watch. That was weird why it reset there. But again, looking around, we want to see, is he moving his head? Why is he looking at the mirror again? A little pull counter there, right? This move right here is exceptionally bad. Pivots on the front foot. Okay, I don't like that move. A little bit of head movement, a little pull counter here. Now, in between beats, is he catching and blocking punches? Is he moving around and hoping to protect himself? It looks like he has a very... What's going on? Go back to Shakur. What are you guys doing? What's wrong with you? What a dumb video. Why would you do that? But is he having any head movement when he's not punching? Because the most opportune time for his opponent to throw punches is probably not when he's punching, right? So when he's punching and then he takes a break, he's got to expect punches to come back, right? So is he moving his head? Is he have any non-punching activity, blocking and catching? Just more looking at the mirror. Just more throwing combinations where he's not really moving his head, right? All very, very dangerous, very, very dangerous stuff to do in front of a puncher like De Los Santos, okay? Now, we're going to take a look real quick. I'm going to close this one. We got Edwin De Los Santos here, Edwin De Los Santos here, and then a De Los Santos here. Okay, but we're going to take a look at this one real quick. Oh, this is the one we looked at. I closed the wrong one. Oh, well. Doesn't matter. Get out of here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Shakur, his media workout. Okay? And again, just see if anything's changed, right? Now, when I was younger, I just about refused to train without headphones. I hated training without music. I didn't own a boombox or anything, so I always wore headphones. But I noticed that when I would throw punches and I would slam into them and I would throw real hard, it would make my headphones come out. The cords would get in the way. So I would try to learn to throw the punches in a way that I wouldn't move my headphones. And I don't know if that's what Shakur's doing here. But it's one of those things that I really don't like to have present in my workouts. And while I think that, having music when you train is super important, super fun, it helps in a lot of ways too. Having big, bulky things like this that are going to sometimes get in the way of your technique, get in the way of your work, I think can be really bad and detrimental. Again, especially because it's one of those things that keeps falling in line with what Shakur Stevenson's biggest weakness is. It's just that he just doesn't move his head, right? And again, in 90s boxing, right, Shakur Stevenson is elite. He's fast, he's sharp, he's hard to fight, he's a southpaw, right? But things are changing, as we saw with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, right? The fact that Crawford can move his head. The fact that Errol Spence can't. You know, Errol Spence can't really throw rounded punches. He doesn't really throw hooks. Terrence Crawford annihilated Errol Spence with hooks, with rounded punches. And Edwin de los Santos is a rounded punch fighter. Shakur Stevenson throws a lot of straight punches. He's going to do things like when I showed that defense where he pulls straight back. Again, all that stuff is really good for a rounded puncher. Okay? A little bit of defense here, right? But when he's moving his head here, can he block punches? Is he bringing his hands with him? This is not real defense, right? What's he imagine? Okay, right there, maybe a little bit. Shoulder roll. Now, this is an open stance fight, so maybe the shoulder roll, maybe he'll be able to make some use out of it. Now, a few fighters were able to crack a little bit of Mayweather's shoulder roll. Okay, do we know who those fighters were? Maidana hit him a few times hard, not including the pull counter where he hurt him. And there's no like myth or legend, however you want to say it, that he knocked his tooth out. And you can kind of see it, but maybe it's Vaseline, maybe it's but not even that punch. During the shoulder roll, he caught him, and Shane Mosley was able to catch Floyd Mayweather with a super fast, super hard shot. And those guys, pretty good punchers. Okay, so I don't expect, like I was saying, his go-to defense, just jump off the line and stick his hands out. Jump off the line, right? Straight back. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look a little bit at Edwin de los Santos now. Now, there's not a lot on him, okay? But he is very quick, very smooth with his head movement, very fluid moving around, even though I don't like how many breaks he's taking here. But look at his head movement, you guys. Look at this. Boom, boom. Able to slip with this. Beautiful move here. Slips to the front foot. 2-foot punch with the hook. Cross the line. Boom. 2-foot punching with the uppercut. Right? Front foot's planted-ish. His foot's kind of coming off the ground. Right? He's got kind of some, I'll say it's like kind of raw. He doesn't exactly know what the structure's looking like. So his foot's kind of coming off the ground, but not completely off the ground. Still able to drive off the front foot, or still, and if you take a look at his back foot, he's still not getting all the way on the ball of the back foot, driving all the weight. He's kind of got this real fluid thing, but just look at how fast he is, right? When a guy can cross your line and move his head at the same time, right? Now, if he boom throws that shot, throws this 3, moves his head, and he throws another shot. This is very similar to what Shakur Stevenson does with the explosiveness of the 2-3, boom, boom, right? When he's on the bag. Let's see if I still got that stupid video open. Of course I don't. Of course I closed it. But the difference is that De Los Santos can move his head at the same time, right? He's got multiple weight transitions. He's not only that, but he's moving his head, right? Moving his head. A little bit. Very fast with his hands, right? Anyway, we're going to take a look at a little bit of his heavy bag work. Okay. Very fast, stepping jab. Whew. Very powerful. Gets on the line here. Pull counter. Boom, and throws a shot. Just practicing on the line, pull counter, right? On the heavy bag. This guy is going to be a high level, very, very tough challenge for Shakur. Very, very tough because this guy's fast. This guy's explosive too. But this guy also hits hard. They're giving Shakur Stevenson credit for a lot of KOs, but TKO Suchiro, oh man, I don't know if that's his name. Now, gets on the line. Very, very similar amount of power, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3. Or is it 2, 3, 3, 3? Some stepping jabs, very, very explosive. Didn't get to see what he did here. Boom, 2, boom, pull into that shot. Can't see everything, I guess. It's triple jab, pretty fast. Triple stepping jab. Rear hand, roll under the line, come up, combination. A little bit less head movement here when he's throwing for power. No head movement there, but very, very, very fast. A little bit of head movement here, though. Pretty good. Jab, pull, boom, cross the line here. Very, very good. Very, very sweet combo here. By the way, get it on the line down, right? Jab, pendulums here, gets down, comes across the line with the rear hand. Beautiful, beautiful shot. And this is a hard shot, guys. Really, really hard shot. I want to hear it one more time. Man, even his jab sounds so good. Now, if De Los Santos, in my opinion, doesn't approach the line with his hands up, if he can't actually interact with Stevenson's straight punches, I think it winds up being kind of a 50-50 fight. If Stevenson can keep him off balance with the straight punches, keep him moving and circling, and keep him, from being planted, which I do want to say that's kind of his game, right? The only thing is Shakur Stevenson doesn't have that great of a guard. His hands aren't always up. He does like to favor the Philly shell, and if you're underestimating a guy and you're gonna try to fight him in the Philly shell, he's gonna hit you, And I think that that's gonna be a problem that Shakur faces in this fight, is maybe underestimating this guy. Even if he winds up getting ahead a little bit, this guy is just so explosive. He's so explosive that I do think that you know, he'll have his time where he hurts Shakur Stevenson. I think it's inevitable. Whereas, but the difference is in this fight, I don't know how often De Los Santos is going to be able to replicate hurting Stevenson. If he hurts him one time, and then Stevenson, instead of fighting, decides to get on his bicycle, maybe he can still outpoint De Los Santos. Maybe if he starts on his bicycle and he doesn't even really try to fight De Los Santos, makes it a boring fight, maybe he can do that, you know. But I do think that at some point De Los Santos is gonna hurt Shakur. Um, but unlike Crawford, I knew Crawford was going to be able to replicate it. He could hurt Spence anytime he wanted. But I think that Shakur Stevenson is a little bit better than Spence on average. There are some spaces where Spence is better, but I think there are more important spaces that Shakur is better. I think that he has a much, much better jab than Spence. I know Spence got a lot of credit for his jab, but I don't think his is as versatile. It's not as versatile, and it's not as fast and sharp. It's not as safe as Shakur Stevenson's jab. And Shakur Stevenson can actually jump off the line pretty decently. After throwing it, he can be kind of explosive. So, because of that, Errol Spence did not really have a safe jab to throw, so he was just always going to be in danger. All right, now we got De Los Santos here. Going to do his little mitt work thing here. And the first thing I want you guys to see how he slips here, and his rear hand is kind of down, okay? He slips and throws a punch here. Now, you see this move that he's doing here? He's trying to pivot on the front foot, okay? Tries to pivot on the front foot, and look at how he just immediately walks into this hook from his opponent, this rear hand. His opponent is in southpaw with him, right? Shows him a rear hand, slip the rear hand, body shot, right? And then now he's going to throw a hook. And look at how De Los Santos immediately throws his weight to the front foot to get his block up so he can pivot on the front foot, right? He's going to bring his hand up next? No, he just pivots. But this is one of the reasons why that pivoting on the front foot is such a bad move. Even in his training here with his coach, he just walks into a move. And this is a move, if we take a look at Shakur Stevenson training. See that move? Oh, there it was, right? If De Los Santos gets to the front foot against Shakur, and he tries that same move here, pivot, boom, bop, right? And he just tries to, and Shakur just throws this punch. while De Los Santos is pivoting on the front foot, he might win the fight. Right? You see how this lines up? Again, this strategy, pivoting on the front foot, is just one of the worst things that you can do. Okay? Now, if you want to figure out all the things that you should be doing when you get to the front foot, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. Again, it's the most complete combat system in all of combat sports. Okay? It's going to teach you how to use the heavy bag. Okay? It's going to teach you how to shadow box. It's going to teach you how to hit the mitts. Okay? It's going to teach you all the best ways to learn how to do this stuff. All right, let's break down some more of this stuff because I'm sure there's some garbage in here. Little rear hand. I like what side of the line he's on. Little 2 pull pendulum 2 again. 2 pull 2. Shakur Stevenson was practicing a very similar move. I think Stevenson's was faster, but that was pretty quick defense here. Now check that out. Check that out. Boom, boom. Right. So he's gonna get on the line with 2 pull. He's not blocking. He should be having his block up, and then 2-3. Okay, just like Shakur Stevenson, right? Very, very similar move, getting on the line, bop, pull, boom, boom. Right? It's kind of cool. Not really defending his position after. So if he throws a huge punch like that, Shakur Stevenson, and he doesn't land, Shakur Stevenson may be able to hit him, catch him, while he's just standing there admiring his work. Timeout. Check that out again. Here he is, pivoting on the front foot, taking that step. Ooh. Now, I did a breakdown of Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. And at the end of the film study, I kind of got to the point where I felt like the only way Tank could lose is by doing this move in front of Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia throwing a leaping left hook at him, right? Any left hook because it's so fast, right? There you go. He got his block up that time. Getting on the line, a little combination and a pull. Finishing with a hook there. Pulling his head just a little bit off line. Some good stuff. Some good stuff. I like the speed. I like some of it. Some of the head movement isn't always that great. Some of it isn't that good. But the fact that this guy can throw such hard punches, I think is going to present its own very, very, very unique challenge for Shakur Stevenson. Again, not that he hasn't fought people who can punch a little bit before, but I don't think he's fought anybody like this. Anyone, boom, boom. Look at him trying to really cross the line. Look at how far over his head gets here. Throwing the shot, cross the line, and throwing these punches. These are full power punches, right? This is really difficult to do. Go 2 and then cross the line back to the other side 3. Now, it's not perfect, right? It's pretty good. It looks like a 1, right? Little probe here, 2, right? And his structure is okay, right? And now when he throws this shot, he hasn't finished his structure yet. His back foot isn't on the ground yet, so it's not the hardest shot, but it's pretty good. These are pretty good shots. Yeah. Yeah, they sound like really, really solid shots. Getting on the line here. 2, cross the line a little bit. 3, cross the line back to the back foot. Pull a little bit. Again, this move here, pivoting on the front foot, at least his guard is up, right? If he approaches the fight with a guard like this, I think he has a very, very, very good shot at beating Shakur Stevenson. If Shakur Stevenson has a bad guard, right? And again, usually his guard is pretty perfunctory. He just has his hands up in some fashion. And again, it's not really in relation to his target. It's not really in relation to what's going on in the ring because he doesn't do that game. When he shadow boxes, when he moves around, he likes to look himself in the mirror, tell himself what a big dog he is. Whatever it is that's going through his mind, whatever it is that he's watching, right? Getting all crazy, licking his lips and shit. But anyway, we fight how we train. I do think, in reading the comments from the pre-fight video, obviously, if I pick against Shakur Stevenson, I'm a terrible person because whatever. uh, but unless Shakur Stevenson blasts him out of the water and just completely dominates him, I just don't see, and he's so fast and he just hits him so quick. Unless it looks like uh, Arturo Gatti versus Floyd Mayweather, I just don't see a way where De Los Santos doesn't crack him. He doesn't hit him and hurt him. And even if you watch back and you watch Mayweather versus Gatti, you're like, this was technically a beatdown. But also you see the small little holes where if Arturo Gatti was punching instead of just putting his glove out, right? Just barely missing Floyd Mayweather, but like how good was Gotti? You know? He's definitely not our Edwin de los Santos, right? Shane Mosley versus Floyd Mayweather, right? You remember how tough uh, how tough it was for Floyd Mayweather to move his head, right? He could pull straight back and move forward with this little funny pull counter thing, but he didn't really have head movement, right? And Shane Mosley made him pay for that. So anyway, I think it's an interesting fight. I think um, I think even if De Los Santos loses, he's going to wind up being one of the biggest key pieces in the division. Not just for like keeping it moving, because he'll probably fight anybody, right? But I think that he's going to get some key wins in this division, um, and maybe 140 as well. I think that this guy, if he doesn't shit the bed, and he does pull it off against Shakur, I think he'll wind up being one of the premier fighters, and not like in a way like the guy who beat Eric Morales one time, Zahir Rahim. I think that's what his name was. Like, real talented dude, flash in the pan. Like, got the decision against Eric Morales, I think it was, and then just like didn't really have a great career after that. But I think if he wins against Shakur, he may wind up being like, one of the guys, top 10 pound for pound kind of guy. Really just shake the division up, you know. Um, yeah, but this will be a huge test for him. And again, a huge test for Shakur. A huge test for Shakur. I think we're definitely going to see his chin checked. We're going to see if he can take a punch. Um, um, and if he can take a punch, he may be able to figure out a way to finish the fight ahead on the scorecards. But man, it's really tough because again, I think Shakur Stevenson fades late. I think that he gets tired. He takes long breaks because he does a lot of snapping. He does a lot of combinations. Everything he does takes up so much energy. And there's just when you watch De Los Santos moving, you know, there's just a fluidity about him, a relaxedness, right? Where he's just chilling, right? He doesn't look like he's worried. He doesn't look like his technique is like relaxed. He's not stressed, right? And he's so explosive. So anyway, I want to preface that with saying I still haven't seen the Foster fight. I can't find the Foster fight anywhere. I should go look at the weigh-ins to see if Edwin de los Santos showed up like a fat fuck, and maybe that's why he lost. He was out of shape and got beat up. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't see Shakur stopping De Los Santos. And if De Los Santos can be landing bombs on Rayo, who also doesn't have a good guard, he's not nearly as fast as Shakur with the head movement or pulling or slipping or anything. But De Los Santos, put in some really good work really early. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Shakur, Doesn't move his head. Oh, that was one of the clips I wanted to show. There's another clip with Shakur where he's shadowboxing and he has weights on. Now he had a leg weight, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'd love to try it. But I used to train with a weight vest as well, and I found that it made throwing punches and moving my head much more. I don't want to say much more difficult, but doing it correctly was very difficult. And that's exactly what you don't want is things getting in the way of you doing things correctly, like looking in the mirror, right? Just record yourself, right? You have a phone. Um, but yeah, again, Shakur's biggest weakness, very likely just going to be his head movement, his active guard, if you will. He has no active guard, it's just one static position. Um, so yeah, De Los Santos is definitely a live dog, and I think I might be putting some money on him.